Hormat Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, kindly be seated. Thank you. Members of the media, may I kindly ask to clear the front area as we begin shortly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister. Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Raja Dr. Zamri bin Abdul Kadir, Minister of Higher Education. Yang Berhormat Dr. Technologist Mustafa bin Sakmun, Deputy Minister of Higher Education. Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Anisi bin Ibrahim, Secretary General of the Ministry of Higher Education. Yang berbahagia Datuk Profesor Dr. Azlinda binti Azman, Director General of Higher Education, Ministry of Higher Education. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Azman bin Haji Mokhtar, Chairman, Board of Director, University Technology Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Shafri bin Muhammad Rahim, Vice Chancellor of University Technology Malaysia. Senior officials from ministries and government agencies, President and members of the Student Representative Council, students, strategic partners, media partners, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the In Conversation with Prime Minister Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim. Alhamdulillah, today marks a monumental gathering under the banner of iFUTURE 2025, a platform that brings together Malaysia's brightest minds, policymakers and future leaders to shape the trajectory of our nation's higher education and innovation landscape. And today's occasion is a testament to our continuing commitment to cultivate future-ready graduates, individuals who embody excellence, integrity, and the spirit of Malaysia Madani. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move to our main session, let us take a moment to reflect on the essence of iFUTURE 2025, a platform that champions innovation, technology, and humanity. Please direct your attention to the screen for a special montage video. In a world gripped by uncertainty, one voice from Southeast Asia rises with clarity, conviction, and compassion. This is the story of Malaysia's Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, a leader whose principles remain as firm as his global vision. From the front lines of Malaysia's political awakening to the corridors of international diplomacy, Anwar Ibrahim has remained consistent, guided by values of justice, equity, and reform. His journey is one of endurance, now shaping not only Malaysia's future, but contributing to the global discourse. Under his leadership, Malaysia has reclaimed its place on the world stage, jumping 11 spots in the World Competitiveness Ranking and securing billions in foreign investment from Germany, China, Australia, and beyond. These are not just economic gains, they are proof of trust in Malaysia's reformist path.
In the line of this, we should work closely together in the spirit of cooperation and solidarity, striving towards reducing inequality, promoting social justice, and enhancing standards of living.
Anwar stands firm on the global stage, condemning genocide in Palestine, advocating for multilateralism, and rejecting injustice wherever it occurs, because reminding the world that silence in the face of oppression is complicity.
There is also flagrant hypocrisy in dealing with the issue of Palestine. The international community must speak up against atrocities committed against Palestinians, even as they so vehemently speak out against human rights violations, injustice, and abusive regimes.
At home, he is redefining affirmative action, not by race, but by need. His policies now target all marginalized groups: Malays, Chinese, Indians, Orang Asli, Sabahans, and Sarawakians, so that equity is not an excuse for exclusion, but a roadmap to inclusion.
For the young to assert your identity, to believe that we have the capacity only if we have the resolve, to be fiercely independent, to learn from the East or the West, but not to be subjected to the ideas, policies of our former colonial masters.
Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's leadership is more than political. It is moral. It's global. And in these times, the world needs voices like his, principled, powerful, and unafraid. Let's give another big round of applause to our leader, our Prime Minister. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for, our In Conversation with Prime Minister Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim segment. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming and giving the biggest cheer to Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, our Prime Minister.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Saudara Zamri, Pendidikan, Saudara Safa, Menteri, rekan-rekan, semua yang hebat-hebat dan yang paling hebat anak-anak yang dikasihi setia. Alhamdulillah kita bersama dalam acara iFUTURE, gagasan diluncurkan oleh Saudara Zamri, beri ruang untuk wacana yang bebas, kreatif, kerana di antara tanda kejayaan satu sistem pendidikan ialah kesediaan kita untuk membuka ruang berbicara secara terbuka, secara kreatif, secara kritis. So I think may I begin by expressing my profound gratitude for the initiative taken by Saudara Zamri to create this awareness, to allow for young students, future leaders, and some of them are present leaders, to be more creative, more critical. By assimilating knowledge and disseminating truth. So I think the essence of my short initial remark is to encourage you to continue, to absorb, to learn, to grasp enough facts Because these days of growing fascism, religious fanaticism, Islamophobia, biasness, racial hatreds, we must make a difference. The future is for you to decide. Either you choose a future of divisiveness, of inhuman, dehumanizing, degrading, or degradation of human values, or you choose the right path. And the right path is for truth, justice, and freedom. And I trust you to be champion of justice and freedom. That is my short intro. Now open the questions. Difficult ones, Zamri will answer. Easy ones, I will read. That's what Prime Minister is for. Okay, ada soalan? In English, Malay, Urdu, Chinese, Bengali. English or Malay. Alright? No question. Thank you very much.
We have questions from the floor. Can you just raise your hand? And the mic will come to you.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes. You do not have the mic to shout. You are young. Ada mic.
We take one from the gentleman.
No, ini.
Okay.
Ini. Ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Adi Anjin Hakim. I am from Indonesia. Any Indonesian here? Thank you very much. I am from UTSM, University Tunisia of Malaysia, especially in Johor. Datuk Seri, especially I am very fans with you and many younger generation in Indonesia. Many fans also Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Because why? Because the perjuangan dari Datuk Seri yang berpuluh-puluh tahun and now to become a prime minister, the number one of the best number one in Malaysia. Okay, Datuk Seri, thank you very much for this opportunity for you. And I'm many video watching you in YouTube because I know what is the best advice for you. The first question is, Datuk Seri, for youngest generation in Indonesia, especially between us, Indonesia and Malaysia, in social media, kita macam bergaduh, Datuk Seri. Macam contohlah, orang Indonesia kan, dekat Indonesia, yang belum pernah visit Malaysia, dia macam tengok orang Malaysia ni yang jahat macam tu, Datuk Seri. Macam like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, kita saling gaduh. Macam gaduh budaya, macam gaduh ini punya ni, macam tu, Datuk Seri. Tapi in the fact, dekat masa saya pergi Malaysia 2023, itu saya tengok orang Malaysia baik semua, Datuk Seri. Especially in Semenanjung, Sabah Sarawak look like similar in Indonesia. Dia macam ada sedikit mirip dengan Indonesia, Datuk Seri. Asal Semenanjung. Sangat friendly, sangat baik, Datuk Seri. Jadi, contoh Datuk Seri, ini menjadi ancaman, Datuk Seri, untuk kita future generation. Kalau in the social media kita tak maintain, kita tak buat apa yang perlu diperbuat, jadi the next generation 10 years, 5 years from now, 10 years and 2 years, kita macam hubungan kita tak baik macam tu, Datuk Seri. Sebab inilah persoalannya, apa yang kita perlu untuk youngest generation untuk tanggapi hal ini dekat especially in social media, Datuk Seri. Sebab in the real we are good friends. Thank you, Datuk Seri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kita Malaysia ni negara jiran, kami sangat baik. Singapura dekat Thailand, Indonesia, Filipina, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia. Sebab itu, supaya ada sedikit pertelingkahan di antara Cambodia dengan Vietnam, kita cepat ruding dan mengajak mereka bincang. Semalam pun mereka ada di sini wakil untuk turun. So I think our attitude must be a friendly one. I mean, we survive because of stability and peace in this region. You see, I announced the budget. The highest allocation, highest, and this is unique, is for allocation budget for 2026. The highest is for education. You know why? Because the region is small. If I happen to be in the Middle East, then my priority will have to be adjusted to consider defense as the major, as the first example priority. That has to be done at the expense of education, health, and basic infrastructure. So I think it is important that they sort of understand. More so between Malaysia and Indonesia. We're strong neighbors. We were one before. We speak the same language, somewhat similar culture, a majority of same religion. Even the different religion, we are so familiar with one another. Even the minority, the tribes, we are very familiar. I mean, you talk about Daya Kalimantan, we have Daya in Sarawak. You have Kadazan, we have Kadazan. So why don't we see the positive aspects of culture? The strength is our multiracial, multireligious entity. In Malaysia, when Tengku Brahman envisaged the future, the motto was bersekutu bertambah mutu. In Indonesia, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Lebih kurang sama, Pak. Yeah. So the differences when you talk about enmity, prejudice, is among those who are very ignorant. There are some Malaysians who look down on Indonesians, because they see them only as workers. Indonesians have the same prejudice towards Malaysia. They think it is, some rural heartland or some of these other countries. So it is important to understand culture, to understand differences. It's through knowledge, through understanding. Just a few days back, on Saturday, I was in University UTP, Perdana, Perdana. I mentioned this classic article by Edward Said in his response to Huntington's Clash of Civilization. Because according to Huntington, civilizations ought to clash because of the superiority of Western culture and civilization. So the Indian civilization, the Chinese civilization, most of the Islamic civilization will be proven to be a failure. So it has to clash. But Edward Said's debunking of that thesis, devastating review, effectively in about 8 page in the Nation, he just said, as relevant to what you have said, some but not many. I have many Indonesian friends, and I followed its history, struggle, literature. They agree. But once you fail to understand and appreciate out of ignorance, so what did Edward Said say? It's not clash of civilization, it's clash of ignorance. You can showcase the failure to articulate, the failure to understand, the failure to reason out because of your total ignorance. So convey this message to Malaysians, to Singaporeans, to Indonesians who still have this sort of a prejudice. Look at the West. We thought Europe with this equality, fraternity, liberty of the French Revolution, the ideal of the French Revolution, But now many are talking about such a racist language. Anti everything non-white. Anything unchristian. I mean, why? Why is it so? I happen to be born in Malay. It will be different color. Some are born as Indians or Chinese or Filipinos. So what? We assess, value people due to their integrity, their character, not their color or where they come from. So I think, let me summarize by saying these prejudices stems out of ignorance. What did Edward Said say? Clash of ignorance. So don't worry about some affairs in the social media. You have the capacity. You are young, you are dedicated, you have the stamina, the energy. Fight them. Fight those who are ignorant through knowledge and understanding. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ashish and Syarif Sulaiman. I am from University Putra Malaysia. As Malaysia strives to become an AI nation by 2030, how will the government specifically ensure equitable access to high-quality AI education and resources, particularly for youth and in rural and undeserved communities, to prevent the growth of a widening AI-enabled digital division? That's all from me.
Thank you. Good question. Smart. It is Allah the jawab lebih baik. You know, we have a policy in this country we call digital transformation. The country must move. AI becomes very pertinent, important basis to propel this change. But with new technology, we have also new challenges. Number one, the issue of connectivity. Can we ensure that connectivity for the elites in the urban areas, for the poorer segments of the urban population, for the rural heartland, from Ulu Kelantan to Kapit, can you ensure that we will ensure the success of AI? Otherwise, it will lead to further inequity and inequality. The whole world, a whole economic strategy has to deal with the issue of growing inequality. Now, if AI is introduced without taking consideration of this fact, it will certainly have an impact and result in the failure of ensuring justice. Okay. The second issue is, which you must answer, all of you, thanks to the Ministry of Higher Education, have been given this task to introduce, to ensure that you are more familiar with AI. Some introduce faculties, some departments. But the AI as a subject must be a subject that answers all these things. No. But you would realize that the limitation of AI, I asked, for example, Google's, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and the answers somewhat the same. They say, well, what is produced, given by ChatGPT, for example, is what is loaded into it. It has this rare, spectacular ability to churn out everything, but it would depend on what is given it. So our duty, our task is to prepare our young intellectuals, academicians, technologists and experts to be able to keep our own identity, our culture, our religious values. You can answer about the beauty of the Quran, the beauty of Malay culture, the beauty of wayang kulit from ChatGPT. If what is being absorbed by them is limited to their understanding of wayang kulit, so it has to be ours. So once we absorb what is strong technological advancements either from China or America or Russia or Europe, we must also have that capacity to be able to submit and prepare so that AI serves humanity from the human perspective, not from perspective, European perspective or American perspective. This is not something different. When we study history, from, I remember since early 1961, Professor Hussein Al-Attas, a noted scholar, wrote this brilliant short paper, the World Conference of Historians, or Asian Conference of Historians, entitled The Reconstruction of Malaysian History. Because in the past, our history, written, read, and studied from the perspective of the West. This is the colonial masters that determine how I understand my history. This is totally absurd. We can learn from the colonial masters, but we must decide from our own perspective. So he referred to the issue, reconstruction of Malaysian history from Malaysian angle, not from the angle, not from the Western perspective, not from that. Similarly, when you talk about AI, connectivity is one. Access is, of course, necessary. But you must always remember that what's turned out by these technologies is from the expertise, the experts that give significance and input into this. Apa yang dimuntahkan oleh AI adalah apa yang dimuatkan, ditelan ilmunya dari pakar-pakar. Keupayaan AI itu luar biasa, menakjubkan. Namun, kekuatan kita ialah manakala kita dapat masukkan apa yang diperoleh dari barat, mana-mana dari timur, tetapi juga dari keyakinan dan nilai budaya kita. Itu cabaran. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yes.
Assalamualaikum
Ni kalau tengok soalan tu, tahu habis.
Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, dengan penuh hormat, saya Nur Hidayatul Munirah mewakili para pelajar Universiti Teknologi Malaysia UTM dari Faculty of Artificial Intelligence ini merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada pihak kementerian atas usaha berterusan dalam memperkukuh mutu pendidikan tinggi negara. Okay. Secara keseluruhan, saya berasa gembira dan bersyukur menerima ilmu di UTM. Namun begitu, terdapat beberapa isu yang ingin kami kemukakan untuk perhatian dan pertimbangan pihak kementerian. Isu yang pertama, isu beasiswa JPA dan MARA. Para pelajar saya tidak dapat memohon beasiswa JPA dan MARA kerana program pengajian yang diikuti tidak tersenarai dalam senarai.
Dulu dah sekarang. Okay, next question.
Isu yang kedua, kemudahan makmal yang belum lengkap. Isu berkaitan kemudahan makmal dalam
makmal tahun lalu kita mula dengan 20 juta. Sekarang dalam bentukan sekarang Ikuti kita dah tambah supaya makmal diperlukan jadi semua universiti dah. Right?
Isu yang ketiga, ketiadaan makmal umum untuk belajar.
Dah jawab tadi.
Makmal umum.
Yes. Yeah, the emphasis. Right. Okay, next person. Terima kasih.
A very good afternoon to Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar, other ministers, distinguished guests, and other potential leaders all across the world. My name is Pamela Louise, and I'm a student from University of Technology Sarawak. So here's my question. Yang Amat Berhormat, Sarawak has a great potential to become a leading hub for artificial intelligence, or we call as AI, development in Malaysia, with resources such as Bakun Dam and also Baleh Dam, which the Sarawak generate sustainable hydroelectric power. Sarawak has the big capacity to support large-scale data centers and energy-intensive AI operation.
Question.
So here's the question. In the line with Malaysia's vision to strengthen our digital economy, will the federal government consider a deeper collaboration with the Sarawak government to position Sarawak as a national center for AI innovation, research, and development?
Thank you. You follow the development, the national policy from the Malaysia plan budget. I always made reference to Sarawak as the energy hub for the region. Okay? So you don't only listen to some parochial politicians. You should read from the national agenda. And wherever I go, from Geneva to Japan, I always promote Sarawak as energy, and now even semiconductor hub. And I think this is important because they have the capacity, not only hydro, but green hydrogen, although this the question of cost be considered. I even promoted strongly in Japan for them to continue to invest. So it is important to realize that we promote William High Tech, or Penang, or Johor, or Sarawak, or Sabah for the matter to do economic. One of the ASEAN's strategic pillar is the ASEAN Power Grid from Vietnam, Malaya to Singapore, from Sarawak to Semenanjung to Singapore, Sarawak to Sabah to Indonesia to the Philippines. And that is a national agenda which we work together with Sarawak. So don't worry. My concern is for some people, because of the strong influence of tribalism, they intend to look at it differently. But if they follow, again, I should reiterate the point, you follow the national strategy, certainly Sarawak, energy, and now I was there with a FAB installation to open a new factory in Kuching, or near Kuching, and had given a clear direction as a national policy to support the Sarawak in this area. Okay, because next.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Salam ilmu keikhlasan kesenangan UNIMEM dan juga salam dahsyat lagi. Saya Iman Hosseini Seri daripada UNIMEM. So the question is, how does budget 2026 create new opportunities for youth empowerment in education, also entrepreneurship, and what steps will be taken to ensure that these benefits reach youth in both urban and rural areas? So to be simplified, what opportunities that will youth get in every corner of Malaysia from the budget 2026?
Thank you. See, budget 26, you must realize this. In the framing of budget, what is required? Firstly, to understand the national priorities. Of course, the country has to grow. You have to propel the economy. You have to be attractive as a destination for foreign direct investment, at the same time to attract domestic investments. be more vigorous efforts to invest. Now, this morning it was the 8 a.m. premises department gathering, and I talked about first you must understand the macroeconomic policy. Some of you, of course, specialists in economics or various faculties, the political economics. We all talk about Adam Smith. Our generation, in particular, just absorb the thinking economic policy based on the wealth of nations, which to me remains a very important treatise. I'm not disputing that. But there's one view, a prominent view. And the problem is our education system sometimes. We get obsessed with that particular view. But even then, even if you decide to place such an importance to Adam Smith's work, Wealth of Nations, you must also understand and realize that Adam Smith has two masterpieces. One is Wealth of Nations, the other is the theory of moral sentiment. You should read both. Wealth of Nations focus mainly on the issue of growth, of capital, and of course, a capitalistic economy. But the theory of moral sentiments talked about concern, justice, concern for the welfare of the worker. So it's a bit balanced about the issue of moral sentiments. That's why the title of this book is The Theory of Moral Sentiments. So there is some balance. I was in a retreat with Amartya Sen and Michel Camdes in Bilbao, Spain. Amartya Sen brought his wife, Emma, philosophy professor of history from Oxford. It's interesting that when we were discussing Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations and Theory of Moral Sentiment, she made this very pertinent remark which surprised me. He said, Anwar, notwithstanding your concern and criticism of Adam Smith, which I share, because we need to be more concerned with the welfare of the poor and the marginalized, she said, at least 14 or 17 times in the Wealth of Nations where Adam made reference to the word inequality. Shocking, because what we read, or when we study, or we taught, purely invention. What more if you so in crafting a budget, I have to consider about growth, confidence, domestic, foreign direct investment. At the same time, what growth to whom? I mean, to the welfare of the majority, the people. How can you have a country moving? We used to have 10%, now 4.5%. And still, we have abject poverty. People who don't have enough to eat or can't buy a school uniform. To me, it's not acceptable. We have to try and find ways and means to help resolve. And in order to disperse more funds to education, to health, to infrastructure, then you need to tax. Well, that is the conventional theory. In the past, that's been that you have to tax in order to get revenue to spend. But if you do that, what's the assumption? The assumption that everything is right. Everything is not right. Not even in this country. Why? There are many leakages. There's still corruption. There's still smuggling. There's still cartels. Why do we deal with this first? This involves big tycoons, big players, powerful people. They've squandered not 100 million, billions. Take it back. The government has to take them back and spend on the people, on education and on the young. Now, it's not easy at present. We used to subsidize in a form or other for chicken to help them. Okay? The rationale is what? To help the people, we have to subsidize. How much? Average 1.1 billion ringgit per year. Just subsidize so so that the price of chicken is okay. And we look, why is it the price of chicken in Thailand is much lower? So we say no, withdraw that support because it's controlled by the cartels. Talk to the cartel. If they threaten to increase the price, we'll import the cheap chicken from Thailand, put in the cold storage, and then bring it up and distribute if they start imposing higher price. Now, we did that 2 years back. We saved 1 billion ringgit per year and the price of chicken is still low. That's one policy. We don't tax. We withdraw that subsidy to the rich, to the cartels. Same in chicken. We introduced 2 years back this tariff for electricity. It became a big issue. PMX is unjust, increasing price of tariff to the people. But 85% of the people, your families here don't pay. The rich industries pay. The very rich people, you have 6 aircon in your house. Why must the government subsidize you? You pay. Why is it so difficult? So here you have members of parliament, particularly the opposition, talking and opposing this. So I ask them, whom do you represent? You represent the rich. You go to the village, you say, we are the champion and the conscience of the people. You go to parliament, you support the rich. I mean the rich, we are not even penalizing that. We are not imposing a higher fee. We are just saying, you pay the market rate. We are not subsidizing. How much do we save? About 5 billion ringgit. Now, RON 95 subsidy, petroleum. We reduce 199 for Malaysians. The foreigners, my apologies. You pay, and still it's cheap. Don't complain. Our price of petroleum, RON 95, is cheaper than Saudi Arabia or Qatar. Okay. How much can we save? 2.5 billion. So I don't need to tax. Just break that monopoly. Break the cartel. So, similarly, we have smuggling. Rampant smuggling. Poor enforcement. But the last 2 years, I announced on Friday, we shocked many of my colleagues. Even Zamri was surprised. I don't know why he should be surprised, but he was. Because we thought that probably we are able to take back from corrupt money, from the syndicate, from smugglers, from all sorts of cartels and syndicates. You know, in 2 years, we collected 15.5 billion. This is why I've been talking about governance, tata kelola. Leadership must be clean and stop this nonsense, this corruption in our country. Yes. And I need the support of the young. You must take the lead. You must say no more corruption in this country. No smuggling, no sneaking. Now, because of that, I'm able to start something which is close and dear to my heart. Education should be free. So I started, I can't go, I mean, in a radical way, I got to do it, make sure it is done phases. So from next year, the very poor in this country will get free education at the university. And inshallah, if the governance is right, we will slowly graduate. Okay? So PTPTN, they can go, it becomes a scholarship. So we can. Why do I get to do this? Because I'm able to make sure and crack excesses in and decades. Similarly to the gig, we are now giving so much assistance first to the gig economy because if you're 100,000 young, for example, additional training, additional exposure. Now, if you get the right disciplines in the universities, there's no issue about graduate unemployment. We will have to make sure that there's no mismatch. We will make sure that people are more qualified in the right discipline. We must make sure the universities provide better education. We are short of 30,000 engineers in this country, and now AI and accountancy, law, even proficiency in languages, English in particular. So I think we'll do whatever is necessary because I think if you look at the 2026 budget, the focus is a lot often our parents, but more so with the young and the students, primary school, secondary school, and graduates and youth in general. A lot of focus is given for training, including Tibet, and opportunities for retraining, upskilling, reskilling, etc. Okay, that's it. Yeah, next.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, Datuk Seri. My name is Abdul Akil Naim. I'm from UTM, University Technical Malaysia, Melaka. So I'm gonna keep it short and simple. My questions is regarding our brothers and sisters from Palestinians. My questions is regarding our stance and the GSF issue. What are the tangible steps the government is currently taking or planning to translate Malaysia's strong words into impactful global actions? And the second one is, what do we, the young leaders here, can do to actively partake and participate regarding this issue?
That is the attitude. You know, why do we focus on education? What do we learn? Learn from us in the very piece of specialization. But the whole idea of education, as I said, is to assimilate knowledge, but to disseminate what you understand is truth and justice. And you value freedom. Why do your parents or your grandparents fought against the British and attained independence? Why do Indonesians fought against the Dutch? Or the Vietnamese against the French and then later the Americans? Because they value freedom. They value human dignity. They fight against colonialism. Because colonialism is a policy, is degrading men. It is exploitation, harlom, French, exploitation of men by men. So similarly, in the case of Gaza or the Palestinians, that's why I hear some small minority Malaysians question why give money to the Palestinians? I mean, we have spent 400 billion ringgit in this country. Can't we give 100 million? I mean, I can't. So they are. So I'm thank you because you represent the conscience of the majority. That's what students are for. You represent the conscience of the majority. What is right, what is just, what is free. And you understand why your parents, your grandparents fought against the colonial masters. Because you respect human dignity, you want freedom. Why do you deny freedom for the Christians? They're different color, different religion, but they are of course majority Muslim, they're Christians. Why do you allow colonialism? Why is it possible? Europeans just issued a statement more sanctions against Russia because of their policy in Ukraine. Why the silence against the Palestinians? That's why I say many of these countries try and preach us, talk to us about freedom, about human rights, about democracy. Such hypocrisy we don't want to hear anymore. So we do whatever we can. Fortilla is one initiative, not my initiative. I can't claim that some young Malaysians wanted to take the lead. I said, okay, they move on, we support, facilitate them. Then I said, okay, they want me to be fully supportive and endorse. I said, yes, I have to be the first leader in any country to support officially. Then recently Colombia endorsed. Thank you very much. And then now I suggested that okay, now that there is peace, we of course express our appreciation to President Donald Trump, Qatar, Egypt, and all these countries that supported the peace initiative. We hope it works, and it's important for the region and for humanity at large. And they are now at Sharm el-Sheikh working on the initial phase. But I've told our friends in Nusantara, say now don't need to go by sea, go by land. I hope to communicate to President of Qatar, Seri, at the next few days to suggest to him that allow our contingent to go via Egypt to Rafah and let's continue to assist. It's complete devastation. That's why I know we are a small country. We don't have big defense service, but we value it. Why are we involved in the squabble between Thailand and Cambodia? As I said, they are here. They were here yesterday, working with our team to try and facilitate. Why did I send the foreign minister to Myanmar last week? To try and tell them to stop this fighting, try and negotiate, find a amicable settlement. Yes, we did send our military field hospital to Myanmar. What was the condition? Stop the shooting, allow access to humanitarian aid. Not that I agree with their policies, but that's the minimum. So that, in a small way, things that we need. Now the focus by the Arab countries, the neighboring countries, and some European countries. I think President Donald Trump is convening a meeting with some 50, 20 countries in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to try. So we support. I may have differences with many of them, doesn't matter. But on issues of peace, issues of human dignity, we should be together. So thank you very much. We will certainly do whatever we can. And I appreciate the sentiment of the young because these are the seeds of awareness that is implanted from now. If you don't care, you don't value it, you don't care about human dignity, you don't care about injustice. Oh, never mind. After all, he's somewhere Ulu Rejab, why do I care? I've been problems here. That is beginning of the dehumanizing. It doesn't matter. He's a Hindu somewhere in the estate. I've heard some places. Or some now Indians, okay, oh, why must you have so much programs for the Bhumiputra? What did you ask? Oh, you're doing this for Bhumiputra, fair. What else can you do for the Indians? I mean, that should be the language in Malaysia. Then we work together. Because this is how a country can evolve and grow as unity. But more important to my mind, if you understand the Madani framework, is about human value. It's about trust, about respect to humanity. No, you are born a Dayak, so what? I'm born a Malay. But it's human. Respect and trust. And when you see the dancer, the culture, I mean, I love it. I mean, this is part of my country, and I think it is, things that we enjoy. We can't, oh, they're different, they're different, they're different. Why? So, when you talk about your concern, your care for those who have been oppressed, anyway, I mentioned, we say, oh, only Christian. No, we work hard. Yesterday again, I was in touch with the Prime Minister of Thailand and Cambodia. I mean, we work hard. And last week, I met twice the Prime Minister General of Myanmar, and I sent again the Foreign Minister last week. That's Myanmar, because they are our neighbors. This is our concern. I mean, say, oh, never mind, why do you care? We have enough problems here. Of course, we have enough problems. But that's wow, humanity. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, yes.
Seri, I believe we have one last question.
Okay,
Shall we
then.
take
Yes.
one? Greetings, Dr. Seri. I'm an international student from Bangladesh studying at University
Bangladesh,
of Dhaka.
okay. Bangladesh is a country of Biplop and Shongram.
Yes.
You translate them as Biplop and Shongram.
Sorry, I couldn't get.
Biplop and Shongram.
Okay. Biplop means to fight against the wrong, and Shongram means the way you fight against it.
Okay, good.
My question to you is, what do you think is the most important thing young Malaysians and international youths can do to build a nation and promote understanding, along with closing divides in this digital age?
Why do you ask me difficult questions? Yeah. Okay. First, as I said, students must acquire knowledge. You must really love knowledge. It's not just studying and passing exams. It's what Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib referred to as lazzatul ma'rifah. His love for scholarship. You continue to learn and read. Why? Because your knowledge is limited. You think even if you're smart, brilliant, you always have to have that humility to acquire knowledge. Many of you have heard that one of my favorite poets is T.S. Eliot, and I can recall exactly what he talked. He referred to humility in Islam is tawaddu. The only wisdom one hope to acquire is the wisdom of humility. Humility is endless. I mean, humility, once you are humble, you realize that you need to listen and learn. That's major. You have to excel in your studies. You're very disciplined. But as you know, this great Spanish philosopher, when he talks about barbarism of specialization, there's our failure in many of our education systems. That's why I think the minister and the ministry is trying to get people to understand that in Madani framework, you have to specialize. You have to AI, engineering, whatever new technology, energy transition. But you have to understand that you are and your studies is to understand yourself, your family, your society, and human needs. Otherwise, it's barbarism of specialization. You know how to build bridges, but you don't understand that there's also a need to have a bridge between peoples and cultures. Okay, so that to me is number one, the priority to imbibe knowledge. Then, of course, you have to imbibe this sense, this belief, this strong conviction, and with this conviction, courage and conviction to defend the truth, justice, and freedom, but with knowledge. Otherwise, you can see, as our friend from Indonesia was saying, it's ignorance. Ignorance is not knowledge. So before you decide, before you listen to all these jokers and pedestrian talk, you must try it and understand and appreciate and through that you give a better sense of conviction because you have a purpose. This is another term, tenacity of purpose. You know what you want in life. Oh, you have to succeed. You have to be a great professional. But for what? Just to enrich yourself, to buy expensive cars and have a beautiful house. Is that all? Then that's not educated. You are not educated. You had some form of specialization. So there must be a higher aim in life. And I believe, looking at the enthusiasm of the young here, I am deeply encouraged. Saya sangat terkesan karena saya lihat semangat anak-anak. Saya ucap terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another big round of applause to our Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, for leading this enlightening conversation. And now to commemorate this historic occasion, we will be having a group photo session with Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and distinguished guests. Please gather closer together. Raise your flag, raise your banner, whatever you have, so that it can be seen in the photos. Please make sure you can be seen. All right, everyone, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.